Swept the floor this morning and then I put my boots on and trash it. Right, this is going to have to be super duper quick. Look, I might cut the grass today. Oh. Right. It's 12 o'clock. It's lunchtime. We get an hour for lunch. So, because we've still got our day jobs, we're still always going to have our bloody day jobs. So, we're going to do a little bit of road. So, let's blast through this, right? Right, Terex Benford HD1000 high lift tipper, the one that's driven off of the joystick. We had a problem, and this is what I'm going to skim right over what's taken me about 5 days to work out. Right, what happened is we got on it, it started no problem, went to move it, or filled it up with stones manually by hand, me and Kate, lots of little stones like this, while we were doing the daffodils, which I've not talked about. So we put in about 2,000 daffodils up here. And before we did it, we kind of went along on a surface like this, and we took off all the small stones by hand, filled that up, went to tip it out, the tipper wouldn't work. So what was happening is all four wheels were moving, it's four-wheel drive. It's got 4 independent drive motors, which is fantastic. But it wouldn't lift, and it wouldn't tip, but it would steer. Right, so this thing's got 2 pumps. It's got one off the engine that's here, which is a Kubota engine. It's got a big pump that's driven off of the crank. So big thing that drives the 4-wheel drive. It's then got a separate pump on the side. Now that drives the steering. So it's got like steering in the middle here. In here, I don't know what it's called, but it articulates in the middle. So steering and the lift system is driven off of the second smaller motor, smaller pump, which was strange because it wouldn't do this and it wouldn't do this, but it would steer absolutely fine. So very confused, because you think, well, hang on, it's not the pump issue, but it seems like a hydraulic issue. Right, 4 days later, managed to work out that after taking all these plates off here, you can get access to underneath here, under here. This is where all the solenoids are that have electrical connections that come from here. Inside there is called a control box. It's really, really, really simple in there. There's no electronics in this. It's just like electrics. There's nothing fancy. It's just a bunch of relays and big cluster of wires. So electrics trigger the solenoids, which are under there. And those solenoids, essentially it's like when you trigger the electrics, it's moving like a plunger, and it's either letting fluid under pressure move through and then push the rams up. So electrically driven hydraulics, and that all stems back from this. So again, electrical. They revised it slightly later on and did away with this and put this up here. Anyway, another issue. But on this one, this is the one with the joystick, so it's all driven from that. What am I doing? So lost my train of thought. Electrical solenoids trigger the hydraulic connections, and actually what I did, a lot of just like, you can lift up this thing here, look under here, and you can see the engine and kind of just check out stuff visually. Actually, it's really dry. It's a really sound machine. I really like this machine. So what I actually found was there was one of the tops of it was covered in dirt, but one of the tops, one of the solenoids in there, and so all this comes off. I was trying to unplug it, and there was like liquid coming out of it. And it's like, oh, liquid? It's not oil, because there's no oil leaks. And it felt a bit strange, like a blend of oil and water, but I think it's predominantly water. Once I actually got the top off what I thought was like a relay connection there on top of the solenoid, actually turned out to just be a very simple, like this, a simple plug with 4 connections on it. Similar to what you get on one of those light bulbs in cars with the 3 spade connectors. On this one, it was like 4 spade connectors, I think, sticking up. So trying to put the top off, water sort of coming out of it, thinking, well, there shouldn't be water there, it's a connector. Once I got it off, it was all rusty and manky. It's like, oh, no idea why it's like that, but that's not going to be good. And that sent me down the road of thinking about an electrical problem, because we couldn't separate why we had steering and no hydraulics, because that's all the same, it's the same system. There might have been like a relief valve there, and we were kind of fishing around the hydraulics, didn't quite make sense. Once I found that wet connector, essentially, or rusted, which shows that it's more than just wet, it's been wet for a long time. That kind of made us come right the way back up to this stupid control box here. And there, we need to clean all this off. I was talking to Alan about this. We'll probably, someone's chainsawing. We need to just sort of clean it all up. Anyway, take this thing off by undoing the bolts underneath it. And once you flip it up like that, it's just full of wires, exactly like this. So there's about 4 or 5 cables that come down here, so you can actually disconnect these. I better not dick around with that, because I might cause problems again. And we need to use this in a minute, because we're going to load it up. Right, the electrical issue on the connector, I think, shorted it out. Now these are what's called pop-out fuses. I've never seen these before. Uh-oh, here comes the boss. I better be quick now. So I think that this blew. So I basically opened it all up. These are fuses. I got it, I turned on the engine, moved the steering, it all moved fine. Unplugged that one. It's got 2 spade connectors on the back of that. Nothing happened. Unplugged that one, and nothing happened. The machine just carried on working. Unplugged that one, and the engine cut off. It's like, okay, that's engine. They're supposed to pop out, like instead of a fuse that blows. Do you want to start the digger? Oh, here's the key. I'm just going to finish this for 2 more minutes, just so it warms up a bit, and then I'll pull this out and we'll swap over. Just so it warms up, that's all. It didn't pop out. So the fact that I also disconnected it didn't do anything. It was like, oh, what's that then? But I knew that that was engine. So what I did is on the back of here, there's 2 spade connections. There's actually got a fuse block with a 20 amp fuse in it. Unplugged the 2 wires out the back, plugged them into my 20 amp, and no surprise, the electrical circuit that was feeding that suddenly started working. So after 4 days of fault finding, trying to work out what all this stuff does, having no idea how these things work, once you start sort of like sniffing around and poking things, you kind of start end up going, well, that's what that is, a lovely little alternator in there. Oh God, I really need to get moving here. I shouldn't be talking for so long, because I was going to talk about what the hell we were doing. Can I lift this up now? Yep. Oh, look at this lovely little thing. So Kubota engine, fantastic, really good nick, nice and dry. Really pleased with this. And look at this. Look at this thing. Isn't it tiny? Hello, little fella. You alright? Yeah, me and Alan came up to help try and fault find it. But we noticed that both of us noticed that. Doesn't look right, does it? That's why it's a little bit wibbly wobbly. But what a great tool this is. I've even looked at buying one of these second hand. I can't afford it, but I just really like one. But for the moment, I'm buying Alan's one. Right, so the whole point of all of that, oh look, we've got a box as well to put on the back of Kate's back in there. Right, so what's Kate's doing now? Oh, she's gone. Where's she gone? Oh, she's in there. Right, we're going to move this, so get a dumper, stick this in the dumper. I'm going to use the digger because I'm a bit quicker with the digger for the moment. Kate's going to do the dumpering, and we're going to put the stuff somewhere. This is all crap topsoil, and we're building, we've chopped off this, we talked about it before. We're going to build up this wall here, and these stones are pretty much ones that we can't lift. I mean, I put that on there by hand. That one there, got absolutely no chance. So most of these want to use the machine for it because they're just way too heavy to try and do manually. And in Kate's idea here, we'll chop this bit off here, and we're going to do this little bit of theme along here. This is nice, and we've got a bajillion stones, so we might as well use them. Hopefully got a part for that turning up as well. We'll get that working. So the big stones we've been plucking out from here, that is massive. We're not sure what to do with it yet. It's huge, that thing. Right, this is about, what day is it? Tuesday? I don't know what day it is. That's next week. Summerhouse is coming in. The yellow lines, we've started mapping out where I want to be able to come up here and not look back and see this edge. So we'll start to talk about how we're going to map out all of the panels here. One, to stop the wind coming down this way. So I want some sort of fence there, in there. But equally, I don't want people looking through here. So we'll need something at this angle. So we're just working out what we're going to do. We keep, designing what we're going to do here. At the moment, we've got a big discussion about what to put in that area, like where the paths should all go, like across here. If we put a fence in, to go around the fence. Same through here. Discussions about that. This area here, this is the new lawn going in there. And really, I should stop talking now and do some stuff. So, a little bit. We've only got an hour because it's lunchtime. we're just going to get rid of this topsoil. I want it out of the way, but then I can put a few more stones on here, maybe even by hand as they're on the top one, so we can't find any nice big size things to go on there. And then we'll just tidy all this up just a little bit. So when they come and do the summer house, just behind me, and they've got lots of big bits of wood here, if anyone comes up for deliveries, they can still come up here and turn around. So that's why this is, it's not a high pressure thing, but it just makes sense to give people a bit of space. They can always turn around whilst that's being built. Right, so a few things going on. Hello, you're going to get in the way, aren't you? He's actually got really complacent with that machine, which is really worrying. Yeah, but you know, once it starts moving and clanking, then he runs away. But yes, otherwise there's a problem brewing there. So as you can see, she's putting grass seed down. Oh my gosh, let me have a very quick walk up here. I need to stop talking and do more doing. Seeded. Lots of bulbs gone in here. Look. Hello. You alright? Hello. So any view, especially from here, we want to shape what you see when you're looking back up this way. So this is not like an impact, but just don't want to look at stuff like that. So this, we've all got plans for that stuff. Looking right down here, you see the build out on the right hand side, to chop off, being able to see straight down the road. We want to make it wibbly wobbly. That's what we've been doing there. 11 minutes, Jesus, I can't talk fast enough. Right, one more minute and I'm done. Grass seed. This is not the only grass seed that's gone down in here. This is special grass seed that will grow in the woods. And again, it's because you can see it from there. So we want to create an impression. And we've started to change the shape of this. And along here, there's about 2,000 daffodils been planted. You know, not quite as what you saw there. They're a little bit more indiscriminate here. In fact, if I keep looking, I'll be able to see them, some of them lying on the surface. So, thousands of the things. Anyway, right. We've got an hour. It's going to rain tomorrow. I might as well take these down while I'm going, don't I? We really want to get this working. It's so frustrating when these machines don't work, which is why I've had 4 days of torment, or 3 days, can't remember, because the dumper just suddenly decided not to work, and it's frustrating because we have this stuff to move. So let's get this topsoil moved here. I'll let Kate tell me where to put it. Then there's some topsoil over there. Doesn't look like a lot, but that's probably about 3-4 tons of topsoil there. And then this stuff here, I don't know if we're going to take that and send it right down the track down there. I'll video that another day, what we're doing down there. But where is she? Where's the boss? He's come again. Okay, I think I can stop talking because I've run out of things to say. Right, later taters.